We're gonna take a peek at the Tron Ares trailer, which I have stayed far away from all day today, as much as I wanted to look at it, just so I can have some fresh eyes on it for the stream tonight. React content, sure. Hey, Mr. Gel. Hey, Red Jack. What is that emote? Disapproving cat? I kind of love that. Mr. Armageddon. No, you know what? There's a lot of apparently Jared Leto fans because I was looking, probably a mistake. I was looking on Tumblr about the reaction to the thing, and everybody, you could tell who loves Leto because like a bunch of them were like, "Hey, oh wow, he looks so good." I was like, ugh. No, hey Joe, welcome. As an actor, okay. There's also some of that too, right? When you hear about the weird method acting bullshit that he was doing to people during the Suicide Squad behind the scenes, and just like, he seems, I don't know, his whole vibe irritates the shit out of me. I think a lot of weirdly method actors like that tend to bother me because they're so up their own ass most of the time about the craft. You know, it's like, okay, you're being a fucking weirdo though to everybody around you. And just being generally like super antisocial and strange. I literally can't remember the last thing I saw him in, because did I even watch the shitty Suicide Squad? I haven't seen the better one, the James Gunn one, but people tell me it's significantly better. The last thing I fully saw the movie of that he was in was Blade Runner 2069? Not 69. 2049, whatever the fuck the year is. 2069. Nice. No, whatever, the sequel to Blade Runner, which is not bad. His character, unsurprisingly, annoyed me because even the way his character was crafted was just like a tool. He's just a fucking asshole. It's Morbid. Yeah, that's right, Morbius. I forgot. He's in Morbius. I didn't see that one. Maybe I should have watched it just for the yucks, you know? That was the last week. Yeah, that's the one I saw like his full performance in. Blade Runner yeah, so most people, I guess maybe Blade Runner was the last time a lot of people kind of saw him in something, huh? It's as soon as I said the 69, I was like, that's not the year. that's not the year at all. But yeah, we're gonna watch that real quick before we start because I can't help myself. I am an unapologetic. I'm probably one of those Tron fans that, because I want to preface this react by saying one of the most frustrating things about the Tron franchise, property, whatever, as a whole is I have not quite seen another franchise whose titular character is like barely in the fucking movies. Like, okay, the first Tron, sure, he shares kind of equal screen time pretty much with Jeff Bridges, and it makes sense why. Fine. Legacy, 90% of the time, he's Rinsler, he's not even Tron. You get the explanation, sure, but it also sucks that he's not really there until like the very end, where arguably, did he survive? Didn't he survive? They were going to address that in the Kaczynski? No, what was the name of the director for Legacy? If they had done the Legacy sequel that they were initially planning, my understanding is they were going to obviously address what happened to Tron. Once that imploded on itself, that was no longer an option anymore. And the only one that really kind of did him any kind of justice was, ironically, the animated series, because it actually had a really interesting character arc for him that the other media types just never fucking dealt with. And even the games, like, same thing with like Tron 2.0, which from what I remember, and we'll be replaying it at some point, maybe we'll play it closer to when this movie releases, was not really about Tron, even though it's called Tron. And then like, obviously all the games that were around, centered around when Legacy came out and stuff, obviously aren't really about Tron either, which is kind of annoying. And then there's that Tron Runner game, which is fun, but there's no plot. Like, you could play as Tron in it, so I guess that kind of counts. But yeah, Madam Web wasn't even laughable. It was so bizarre. I mean, yeah, I was watching a bunch of videos around the time that Madam Web came out, and it was really funny that like just the kind of choices they made for some of those scenes. Yeah, the acting was weird. The plot choices were weird. Just even the way sometimes it was shot was just fucking weird. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Kingdom Hearts 2 actually kind of did a better job focusing on Tron than the Tron mainline things did. That's kind of sad, I guess. Yeah, that's, oh god. He probably had more speaking lines in that fucking Space Paranoids level than he did. Actually, did he even have like 5 lines in Legacy? He really kind of didn't. It's so awful. I never saw the series. Oh, Uprising? Absolutely, you should check it out. It's written very well. It has an amazing style. It actually won an Emmy for the art direction. And it's really good. It's got Elijah Wood, Bruce Boxleitner. There's a bunch of there's like a revolving door of like recognizable talent that voiced a lot of the characters. It's really, what's the name? Oh my god, I'm forgetting. The lady that voiced Rapunzel in Tangled. She plays one of like the main friends of Elijah Wood's character. Mandy Moore, right? Yeah, so Mandy Moore is in it. She's really good. There's a couple other random like people that kind of pop in and out. Yeah, it's on Disney Plus. Thank goodness. The animated series is surprisingly good, and kudos to the writers. Yeah, so that's the other thing. So like, the people that wrote the series remembered all the lore of the grid and what it was to be a program and all this kind of shit, and it was done as a really good bridge between like even the original movie and Legacy, because essentially Uprising is a prequel to Legacy. All the stuff that happens in Uprising is right before. Like, Clue is already on his shit, and so there is a need for an Uprising, hence the name, but it hasn't happened yet. So Tron's kind of like, I wouldn't say Batman, but he's trying to work from the shadows because he doesn't want to attract attention to the fact that he's not actually dead, because it takes place from, remember in the flashback in Legacy, where it looks like he gets killed by Clue when he gets like stabbed with the identity disc at the end when Flynn is running away. Well, some things may have played out slightly differently after that scene ended, and then they actually show you what happens in Uprising, which is really cool. Yeah, Batman Beyond vibes. It's got that kind of like, it's very stylish, and it still holds up. It's one of those things where it came out in I think 2010, but it still looks really good, much like the Legacy movie itself. that art style, like just for everything, still looks really fucking good. Anyway, let's check out the trailer. Don't know what to expect from this. I'm not expecting much at all, because here's the other thing that makes me kind of go like, is I heard the rumor that Jared Leto has an active interest in this movie, not only because they've made him one of the main, if not the main character, but also because he may have partially funded it. So that makes me more upset, because it's like, oh god, that means they're really just gonna push it in. It's like the fucking Jared Leto show, you know? Yeah, that's the Now, again, I would really love to be wrong, and I would love this movie to be amazing, but the way that they're pushing him so hard, as opposed to like maybe other actors in the thing, is just not a great sign to me. I don't want this to be like Jared Leto cosplays for 2 hours. Anyway, let's look at it. Let me turn the game audio off here so you're not hearing competing audio. Yeah, creative control is like the death of these kinds of things, but here, let's turn it up. I think you got closed caption. All right.
Motorcyclist exceeding speeds of 120 miles per hour. Last seen heading northbound.
Unit 12, acknowledging dispatch. Already in pursuit.
Almost sliced that dude's arm right off.
I'm looking for something. Something I do not understand.
Oh, Gillian Anderson. Okay. I didn't even know she was in it. Is that Evan Peters? Kind of looks like him.
Ready? Because there's no going back.
God, Jeff Bridges is sounding old as fuck. Oh my god. Like, I know. I instinctively know that that's Jeff Bridges' voice, but wow. Oh yeah, 9 Inch Nails. So there's a couple things that it's like I'm not fucking hating. 9 Inch Nails, Trent Reznor does good soundtracks. So that's not a bad thing. That would potentially be a good thing.
Prentice the Dentist is now live streaming Alan Wake. 2. Back to Alan again. Is this Alan?
So if Gillian Anderson and Greta Lee are in this, I'll have to watch it just on principle. That might be lined up for another Grammy with it. Yeah, like it might be really cool, like music wise, okay? Because in the past he's done music that I could imagine lining up with like how some of like the legacy stuff sounded. Like I'm sure he's not going to mimic it, but like the style of what he can do for an instrumental could be comparable potentially. So that's an okay thing. I don't know about. I have to say it because I'm sure it's probably not a surprise. I don't like the reversal. The whole fun thing for me about Tron as a concept is going into the fucking computer. I don't care so much about the computer shit coming out. We've done that already with various properties before. I mean, that terrible Pixels movie, for example. Like we've already done that. So it's like whenever somebody says, hey, wouldn't it be cool if the programs came to life? Not really. Most people fantasize about being in the program, not the other way around. Like you fucking Sword Art Online or something. If you were watching one of those like Sword Art, like or like a isekai kind of thing, but then the things came to the real world, that would suck. That wouldn't be as good. This feels like the Matrix. Yeah, a little bit. Like the whole thing of like, well, I don't want to say Matrix 4, but there's some aspects of it where I'm like, you've made it less interesting by doing this. I do find it funny. Let me turn this down. How this guy, dumbass guy, you almost got your arm literally slashed. Like that instinctive thing of putting your hand up may have almost cost you that arm. So I just find that funny. But they also don't show any whatchamacallit. They don't show any like plot. It's all visuals, which I mean that's kind of, I guess, like is that kind of what they did for the Legacy trailers? Maybe. I hope there's very little modern city. I mean, where is this supposed to be? Is this like LA or something? It's kind of hard to tell. I mean, everything's flat. So it looks like it could be like downtown LA potentially. Hey, Jared. So let's see. That's a good addition. I like Gillian Anderson. So, although look at the way she's dressed. She's in such an interesting severe outfit that I'm assuming she's maybe one of the board members or something for NCOM. That would make sense. This is just like this looks like innocent cop lady that got dragged into shit. So I guess this is the person that, like, if you've never seen a Tron movie or whatever, or don't know what Tron is, this is like the character device to tell all the newbie people watching the movie, like, to explain like stuff about Tron. Probably. Like, she's seeing a recognizer for the first time. Doesn't it chase her? It chases somebody. All these people that are like, what the fuck is this shit? Wouldn't that be so funny? Because, like, remember, in this universe, Tron exists. I mean, like, as a game. So can you imagine some fucking nerd going like, is that a fucking recognizer outside? You know, so the horror, they won't do this because they won't capitalize on something like funny in this movie, because this movie doesn't look like it'd be remotely funny. But if in one of these offices somebody was working late like a nerd, and they just look out the window and they're like, what the fuck? And then they see the light cycles and shit. Like, you know, like, oh my god, this is me. I'm like not understanding what the fuck I'm seeing. Did I work too late? Like, you know, adjust your eyes to see if that's what you're actually seeing outside. Tron Ares was filmed in Vancouver. Of course it is. Shit's always like, it always reminds me of what's that show, Monk? The show Monk, if like most people have seen like an episode of Monk, that it's supposed to be in San Francisco, but it definitely was like shot in Vancouver. They'll like once in a while have a street that actually looks like a San Francisco street, but usually not. What's that sound out there? Yeah, sees that? Nope. I'm just gonna stay in the building. This stuff in here looks very reminiscent of the area in like Legacy where Clue was giving his giant dictator speech to like all his shit. It's been a while. I forgot what they're called when programs are like when they're indoctrinated or whatever. Shit. What kind of Tron fan am I? I blanked on the term. But yeah, it looks like maybe a similar one of those structures. So I wonder, first of all, I wonder if this is even the same grid. Because remember, even going from Tron 1 to Legacy, it's not the same grid. It's a different one. Supposedly. So who knows, this one they may have, to make things easier for themselves, said, oh, this is like a copy of a copy or something. That's why they got Gillian Julian Anderson. That would be amazing if they made another X-Files. You know what? No, I take that back. I think X-Files needs to rest. Because I thought they did bring it back a couple years ago and it wasn't as good. So everybody's just evil? And then this is like, is this guy wearing a normal shirt? What is this? I see some frayed edges, which would make me think he's not wearing like a program's outfit. He might just be wearing like a cotton shirt. So Evan Peters might be essentially like the fucking Sam Flynn type character, where it's like, I'm probably a computer guy. Like I'm a programmer of some renown, maybe. And now I'm finding myself in digital hell. Maybe. Let's see. There's random red programs doing something, breaking apart. And then so they established those light lines just like exist now. How does that even work? I mean, sure, visually it looks cool, but like, how are they explaining how pixels and stuff actually manifest in the real world? Are they just going to stay there in place once they're established? Or did they do that kind of shit where they magically break up and like don't, you know, like you can't just have it turn into nothing. It has to turn, like, it has to change form somehow, right? I don't know. It's all fantasy anyway. I'm throwing money on this real world being another MMO. Oh, like well, but it's so weird though, because the way they establish this, unless it's like a GTA, this feels like if we're doing Occam's razor and we're applying Occam's razor to this movie, this is probably just the real world. I would be very surprised if they're doing some like Inception, like game inside a game thing where this is like another adjusted world and they are reacting to being invaded by a different like program or a grid or whatever. whatever it is. Trailer is absolutely doing the rule of cool, because I will admit, seeing Tron stuff do Tron stuff looks cool usually. Like the stuff with the light, like even them with their little staffs doing whatever that's doing, like sure, that looks cool, of course. The bigger problem is like, does this, so like a lot of people are saying, because I think I've been seeing now there's kind of two camps. There's the desperate Tron fans that just want any Tron. And they're like, yeah, just give us this. Because we haven't had anything for like, God, has it been like more than 10 years? Over a decade now, we haven't had any Tron stuff except for a ride, basically. Which is cool, but like, it's not like new content, you know, essentially. And then there's the other camp, which is me, and I'm sure other people, that's like, what you don't get is, if this movie sucks, it's not like they pretend it doesn't exist. The way Disney is this is the latest thing that they will build shit on top of, potentially. So if this is ass, this basically slightly taints or destroys the thing before it, because they are just going to add more nonsense on top of this new thing. I don't want to say it's a new turd to add on to, but like, I'm just saying, if it goes south, because that's kind of, in a way, that's sort of what happened with Legacy, right? Because Tron existed, and then Legacy came out, and it did a lot of things that, as we've seen, moving forward, they've adopted as like the Tron thing. Like the ride that they established at Disney World has all legacy things. It's not really the older stuff. So this is going to have the same effect, where whatever this thing brings up is now new shit that overrides or will forcibly add on to all the pre-existing things. Imagine road crews taking jackhammers to them the next day for out. Yeah, like if it leaves behind a bunch of pixel crap that doesn't disintegrate because it's the real world. What a mess that would make. What was that Matthew McConaughey movie where it was a video game? Wait, McConaughey did a game? Was it recently? The last one I can think of was that one with Ryan Reynolds where he was an NPC, which was cute, but it was also kind of stupid. But I don't think it was meant to be more than just like a fun movie. Because that was okay. Jared Leto being included is not... Yeah, it's not. That's not a great first sign. They pushed him so hard with the initial like previews and stuff. Like every time there was one of these things brought up on stage, it was always him and whoever the director was, or him and like one other person. This is the first time I'm seeing these other actors. So maybe I'm hoping it's not like 80% him and like 20% everybody else, you know? He also is very clearly wearing red. So is this guy... Here, I could turn the game audio up so it's not super quiet in the background. This guy, is he a bad guy? Is he going to become a good guy halfway through? Like one of those expected things where it's like, because it's his movie, he wants to be like the hero. So he'll start out as like a Clue crony, and then at some point he'll realize, oh, I'm on the wrong side, and then maybe he'll get like a blue outfit or something will happen where like he becomes like the ultimate savior fucking character. Because that always happens. Oh, Serenity? Wait, Serenity? Oh, okay, 2019. The first thing I thought of was the fucking Firefly movie. Threw me off. The NCOM beam does transfer matter. Previously needed real stuff, but maybe they figured... Right, so I guess narratively that makes sense, because obviously if Flynn can go in, you would assume that the reverse could be true. It might be difficult to do, but, you know, that should be like a two-way street, and not necessarily like a one-way street, right? But what sucks is, this looks like, did they just abandon the concept of the ISOs? Because they made such a big deal in Legacy about these separate entities that weren't programs, but lived in the grid. That was like the Olivia, not Olivia Munn. What's her last name? Cora. Yeah, Olivia Wilde's character Cora. Like, all that stuff, it feels like that maybe that's just going to be a fucking dropped plot point. Because now it just seems like evil, bad programs versus regular people. So, I mean, I would not be surprised if this is the equivalent of like a soft reboot. And they just junk... And the other thing that doesn't make sense is, let me see if I can find it. There was a teaser before, I don't know if it's online because I think it wasn't supposed to be revealed. That was, it showed Jeff Bridges in like some purple outfit. Let's see. I don't know if it was at one of those Disney events where they weren't supposed to record, but somebody like did. I don't know where you'd find that. No, that's the same thing. Shit. Maybe not on YouTube, because that would get taken down pretty fast. Let's CinemaCon. Oh, CinemaCon was where this was revealed, right? So it's not going to be that. Where was that? Fuck. Anyway, I can't readily find it, but... Oh, wait. D23 breakdown? No, it's just going to be somebody talking about it. Those are never helpful. Oh, okay. Here's a picture of it, at least. So this weird thing, which visually, for all the original Tron nerds, this kind of looks like one of the outfits that the older programs in the first Tron had. And like the purple color, I think kind of aligns with those kinds of programs, like a database or administrative programs, and not like fighters or whatever. So obviously this is their way of bringing back Flynn in some capacity. But the thing is, that makes no sense because he fucking blew up in Legacy. So how are they explaining, like, is this some reconstituted version of him? Is this like an AI version of him? Is this just like a fake out potentially? Maybe. So who knows what that is at this point. It could be like the Terminator franchise where they scrap everything in the next sequel. That's the worst outcome, honestly, because then you essentially, you throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? Like all the good stuff essentially gets scrapped for this potential new thing that's just going to disappoint people. Terminator has a nice hook that makes that work. Well, not always, though. There was that one that was very contentious with people. It was... that had, like, what's his face, John Connor as a Terminator. A lot of people were like, what the fuck is this? Why did they do this? So, like, they tried a few too many twists, I think, in some of the newer Terminator movies. Yeah, so it looks like Dumont was the character I was thinking, but without the really goofy giant hat that Dumont had in the first Tron movie. It's like he's trying to inherit, like, one of the older programs, like, look. Potentially. I wonder if he's in here. I thought maybe somebody would have a picture of him, but they don't. That one's actually great. People give it hell for goofy reasons. The only problem, if we're talking about Terminator, the only problem I have with some of the newer movies is they just kind of go chaotic with the whole, like, what affected future events, and, like, is this an alternate reality? They established, like it's time travel, but it's time travel that's just, like, throw everything up in the air and then just be like, I don't know, time travel. You know, like, there's so many things that shouldn't be happening because they've already established in the past that a different thing happened, and if that happened, how would this other, you know, time travel is very difficult to write. So normally you want to try to make it as simple as possible, but obviously with more Terminator movies that start changing what those future events and those future events effects are, then that just kind of makes your head try to, like, it'll explode with you trying to process, like, what's happening. Yeah, I remember that reveal. I saw the trailer and I was like, all right, I guess I'm not seeing this movie now. Why would you show such an important plot twist in a fucking trailer? Which maybe was them worrying that they weren't going to get, like, that wasn't enticing enough maybe for people to see it. It's a fantastic short story. The first movie works so well. Just like, again, like The Matrix and like, yeah, the first Terminator. It worked so well if it was just that movie and nothing ever, like, Terminator 2 is really good. I don't want to say like it's bad or something, but, like, functionally it end caps itself really nice and it works. But then they had to add the second one, which still kind of worked, but it started getting a little funky. And then they had the third one where they're like, psych, all the things you thought were going to work aren't going to work. And then that one was like, okay, but it still kind of tries to follow some of the rules, so fine. And then after the third one, it kind of goes off the rails every time there's a Terminator movie. For the moment, without going into Mastroka's reality stuff, Tron doesn't really have that framework. Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying, based off of whatever this setting is, they may have just made it easier for themselves and said, it's a different grid. It's a different grid that doesn't have the ISOs. I don't know how they're going to explain Sam Flynn not being around, because it's not like he died. So he is in the world, because they have an old Kevin Flynn here. So they're going to have to, I don't know, unless they essentially write him off screen with like a sentence. Like, oh, he was on his motorcycle and it blew up one day or something. I don't know. Like, somebody put out a hit. Someone in ENCOM put out a hit on Sam Flynn and he's dead. You know, which would be shitty. I feel so bad for what's his face, the actor, because it's like I'm sure he thought like, this is the beginning of something real crazy. I'm the new like not superhero, but like I'm the new main hero of the Tron franchise. This is gonna be great. And then he's like, it's like he hit a wall instantaneously because nope, you get that one movie. Sorry. Yeah, it's a long walk off a short pier. But yeah, I could see how they would make this potentially work with the existing universe, but it does feel like it might be a bummer to some. Yeah, and Cillian Murphy was supposed to be Dillinger's son, and he's not in this, or at least not as far as I know. I don't think he's in like the cast list. So they're dumping that plot line, unless maybe no. For a second there, I thought, like, could Evan Peters be his character that they just recast? But it would be kind of shitty because they look nothing alike and they don't seem to have the same vibe. But who knows? Unless they also recast, like, maybe Evan Peters is actually Sam Flynn and they didn't bring back, what's his face again? But then that also doesn't make sense because they did bring back Jeff Bridges. So it's kind of weird. The biggest slight, though, I think, is like, I feel bad. Well, I mean, I'm sure he's too old anyway, but like, I do feel bad for Bruce Boxleitner because Tron has been like his thing for decades. And hey, we're doing another movie. Oh, cool. So, are we gonna? It's like, are we gonna have Tron in a Tron movie? No. You can enjoy your retirement, whatever, making your Hallmark movies and whatever he's doing these days. Just like, what a fucking slap in the face. Unless he was lying and he does have some sort of tiny role in there somewhere. I mean, because remember, he gets basically screwed twice. He's not in there as Tron and he's not in there as Alan Bradley. So they basically screw him over twice. I don't know. I'm just so... I don't know. Echoing the tragic disappearance of his father, Kevin Flynn, where... Yeah, they could literally do that, Crimson. And then maybe what would come out of that is like maybe Evan Peters is part of some like cult. Not cult, but like some niche fan base that really like idolize the Flynns. And they suspect like... some heinous behind-the-scenes inner workings of ENCOM that caused both of their characters' deaths, and so like they're dedicated to like trying to break into ENCOM and like suss out what the hell's going on, and by doing that he inadvertently somehow gets sucked into the grid, you know, and sees firsthand what the hell's happening. Like, as I'm saying it, that definitely sounds like that could be a plot point. Who knows? Yeah, or Evan Peters is a recast of one of the two characters. Either maybe Dillinger's son or Sam Flynn, potentially. Unless he's just a brand new nerdy programmer guy character, perhaps. I think that's a big reason why the original planned ending of Terminator 2 had a definitive ending to it all, rather than leaving it vague. That movie does feel like they could have just had it end. You know, the Arnold Terminator killed off the fucking Robert Patrick one. Everything's cool. Everything's aligned again the way it should be. End of story. But you know, something that makes money like that, they will never really end. So yeah, I don't know. So much of it, like, it's for the average public that doesn't really care. Wait, did that just do it backwards? Oh, I thought this was his back. Like he was arched over a light cycle, but he's lying flat on his back. I looked at that wrong. I thought they were going to do one of those things where he's revving up, you know, like on the motorcycle, and he's actually being like formed as he's on it, which would also look cool. So does this mean either this guy was created and this is his creation scene, or he was destroyed and then like had to be re-resed, basically?
'cause there's no going back.
And you look at this face. There's no way that that's... Wait, he also looks like... Did his fucking suit get melted? What the hell? There's a weird... Look at the... I can't zoom in on this, but like, there's a weird texture to like the digital suit where it looks like somebody like tried to flamethrower him. And just gooified his suit a little bit. And so apparently all this is flammable. Which is the other interesting... If this is all digital, what makes it flammable? Who knows? Just because it looks cool. Again, rule of cool is in full effect. Garrett Hedlund has such a little dude... No, yeah, he's tall. But I think his vibe is more like a soft-spoken type of character. Or at least that's what from what I've seen. Yeah, I'm not Data anymore. But if you're not Data, that also means you can still get blowed up real good, just like everybody else in real life. So maybe that's why... Maybe this guy was like some badass in the digital world, but now that he comes to the real world and everybody's trying to like throw nukes at these things, he's like, oh, maybe we were wrong. Like he starts having second thoughts after dealing with like humans or whatever, or users. Like, are they still going to build up the whole... Because remember back in... They still kind of do that in Legacy, but it's downplayed. In the original Tron, users are almost considered... They're like... treated like gods. You know, like when somebody mentions a user and everyone's like, oh, the users, oh, you know, kind of thing. So you're telling me that none of these programs would have the slightest like hesitancy, or it's like, we're going to the user world? Like, are they going to just kill us? You know, like you would just instantly jump in, just being like, yeah, we'll squash them all. Like, I'm sure some of these programs would be like nervous about the prospects of like going head to head with like users, but I don't know if they'll even use that concept at that point. Relic of the Flame Wars, where they just firebomb all the digital people. Yeah, I don't know. Even after seeing this, I'm still feeling somewhat the same about it. This just proves that the movie is real, and it's not one of those things that for many years we were like, is this movie even fucking happening? The only good thing I'll say is there's clearly actors in this that are good actors. So, again, unless the dialogue is complete ass, which, who knows, then you might get some good performances out of it. Wait, what? Wait, what's wrong, Hungry's clone? But anyway, so... Yeah, we were just looking at the Tron Ares trailer. But, is that his... Wait, who is... So this is a different guy. So here's a question. This does not look like Jared Leto. So who is this guy? He has blue. It's not these. Were they... I guess these two maybe potentially were chasing this guy? And then he squints. Who is this? Don't tell me this is like Flynn or something. They have one more chance to try to do a de-aged Jeff Bridges and do it correctly this time. If it's if it's like him somehow coming back, or like maybe this could be like a flashback or something where they purposely, just to confuse you in the trailer, cut this along with the red guys, you know, in the real world or something. But that is weird. Was there anything before that showed that guy? Or...
Dispatch, already in pursuit.
Matt Smith? Wait, what? Is Matt Smith in this movie too? That's the name I haven't seen on here. Okay, so these guys, this is just this. We don't see anybody in blue at this point. Yeah, like this is, who the fuck is that?
For something.
And then there's not another bike.
Something I do not understand.
The fuck? Why that weird insert shot of a guy's eye? I'm sure other nerds are already poring over this particular shot. Because he's surrounded by no red whatsoever. So he's clearly not one of those two riders. Otherwise, that makes no fucking sense. This would have to at least be some reddish something around here because they're so bright red. There's no way that you wouldn't have some of that red around there. Yeah, Evan Peters is the one. Evan Peters is here. Right here. This is definitely him. So I recognized him, recognized Gillian Anderson, and then what was the other one? Somebody was saying one of the female characters, but I don't know if they show it here. There's this cop lady that's trying to outrun a recognizer. It's like, okay. Cameron Monaghan. Which one is Cameron Monaghan? Oh, Greta Lee, right? Yeah. Hold on. Oh, wait, what? He's in this movie? No. Are you just tossing out random names? The Fallen Order guy? Oh, Canis. Maybe? Let me look at his face. Let's look at his face closer. He has brown eyes, though, so it's not this guy. Some random-ass casting in this movie. Yeah, so, like, Monaghan has brown eyes. This guy looks like he's got, like, some kind of bluish or hazel. Oh my god, where is it on here? That doesn't look like his face, though. This looks like an older person, because even look here, there's, like, some kind of, like, wrinkle shit happening. I don't know. This, out of this whole trailer, this is the one that kind of intrigues me the most, of, like, what is this supposed to mean? What is this here? Yeah, the casting is kind of all over the place. They're not bad choices. The people they picked can act. It's not like they're picking some actors that are like, oh no, like what are we gonna get? I just don't know. Somebody else I've had to model rig. Oh, him? Yeah, like, I don't know. Yeah, he is in this as somebody that sounds like a program because his name is Canis. Canis? I don't say it like that. Canis. So maybe he's like a program that's like a rebel program. Like if you look at him, he'd probably fit as like not one of these like tough dudes, but like as a resistance kind of guy, if there is such a thing in this on this grid. So yeah, I don't know. It comes out, I think, in October of this year, so I'm sure there'll be at least one more trailer before it releases. There's too many people in this that I'm annoyed that... Maybe that's their plan, Joe. Maybe that's their whole scheme is like, we have so many random people tossed in, we guarantee there's at least one person there that you'll be like, well, I do want to support that actor, so maybe I should see this movie. I don't know. I'm just the Jared Leto aspect is very concerning to me because he doesn't like in his more recent stuff, he never seems like the kind of guy that likes to share the scene with people. He always very much likes to take over a scene, and that heavily irritates me. So we'll see. I hate when marketing works. Yeah. Yeah. I think the funny thing is because most people, the majority of people that go to see a Tron movie are seeing it for the rule of cool, spectacle, visuals, etc. And, you know, music potentially, because a lot of people claim that Daft Punk was like 99% of the reason why they like Legacy. So for most people, they'll probably go to see this. I just know for people that actually care about the property as a whole, this could be very much a mixed bag because it could be pulling even farther from elements of the lore and the history of the stuff that is what got people to like the Tron franchise to begin with. Because this is starting to look more like it's delving even further into the style, not substance, you know? So, but, you know, we have to see what happens. I was not shy of saying I thought Legacy's story itself was very surface level. It could have probably gotten a lot deeper, and it feels like for the runtime that it had, it feels like it doesn't say enough in the time that it spends, you know, with the movie. Like you're in and already you're almost done with the movie, and it's like, well, what happened? Like Sam Flynn barely got to the grid, and already they're trying to leave, and oops, okay, Kevin Flynn's dead. Now the movie's over. Like, what the fuck happened? Whereas with the original Tron, I think, aren't the runtimes comparable? The original Tron makes you feel like you were actually in it for a while, and then you got a better sense of like what the world was and all this other kind of stuff. But just the pacing is very different amongst the movies. This is heading into Westworld late season. I didn't see, that's the thing. I didn't see that. Did they have, what, 3 seasons of Westworld? I saw the first, like, 2? And then that season where I think they brought, like, Aaron Paul in, I didn't see that season. So I don't know what the hell happened there. Did it actually end, or was it left on, like, a cliffhanger? So, I don't know. Ended-ish. Well, if it had some kind of ending, it's better than not having any ending at all. That's the most frustrating part. Like, again, why some people are so bitter about the Tron stuff is that it didn't really have like a proper like conclusion. There was the promise of a better conclusion later, and then that got nixed, and now we get this. So it's like, is this basically going to wrap up the Tron world, or is it going to be an open door for more stuff? Now, the one good thing is, if it does pick up interest, and Disney, well, there's like a 1% chance of this, but like if Disney actually says, hey, what can we reopen that's already established in Tron and make more money off of it? Hey, maybe season 2 of Uprising would be cool. But that's probably asking a lot, unfortunately. Even though they literally already had planned out for another season and like a movie in between. It's insane. I stopped after season 2 because I saw where it was heading and it made me tired. The first season is so fascinating. And then, but yeah, it kind of devolves as the seasons go. And it's like, then you go to, was it Samurai World, and there's the other worlds, and then it's just pretty much just robots versus people. It's like, well, okay, what is your end goal here? And they kept trying to act like they're doing something fancy with the Ed Harris character. And I'm like, he's just an asshole. Why are we wasting time on this dude? Do you watch the Aaron Paul episodes, especially the first 2 of season? If you like cyberpunk, watch the first chunk of season 3. Oh, is it cyberpunky? Or is it because they're showing what's happening in like the real world at that time? Because I'm assuming it's some future real world, right? With Disney being Disney, they'll likely make it open-ended. So yeah, and that's what's annoying. Because like, if it's not successful, it's too bad because it's open-ended. If it is successful, like, get ready for just way too much Tron of some type. I mean, that's like what they tried to do with Star Wars until I think they've learned. No, you know what? I'm going to backtrack and say I don't think they've learned their lesson, probably. They're still fumbling around with the Star Wars stuff. It's like we got Andor coming out, this month? But that seems like an outlier. And then, there's some kind of Rey movie that's still happening, ? So it's like, I hope that one's good, but it's like, people are so viscerally pissed at like the sequel trilogy. It's like, are they really going to give it an honest chance, or are they just going to not bother with it at all? You know? I realized I'm mostly just a fan of the original. Yeah, I think a lot of people face some hard truths, like when they had to look internally, especially with Rise of Skywalker. I hated that fucking movie. I was so mad. You know it's bad when people start looking at like the prequel trilogy and start saying like, well, maybe that wasn't so bad. Because prior to that, unless you were young and you grew up with the prequel trilogy, people would always like shit on the prequels pretty consistently. But now you have the end of the sequel trilogy come out, and suddenly everyone's like, well, actually, you know, prequel trilogy's okay. It's like I saw that switchover happen in real time. Yes, but I've been obsessed with watching people react to Mandalorian. Oh no. That latest season, The Mandalorian, though, they're vastly approaching a jump the shark kind of territory. They need to be careful. it's becoming less about the Mandalorian and more about like, hey, bunch of characters from the show, or from Star Wars, the show. It's like, can the Mandalorian like do a thing for more than like 2 minutes? Okay, cool. Why even call it the Mandalorian anymore? Oh yeah, and then they're doing like a movie as well, right? At some point. Pedro Pascal is going to be a busy guy. I still haven't watched Rise of Skywalker. It's so breakneck speed. Because the rumors were that Abrams initially wanted... he was never going to get this, so I don't know why he thought it was going to be possible. He wanted Rise of Skywalker to be like 3 hours long. Because there's just so much stuff that they had to kind of get through. And Disney was like, this is not going to be 3 hours. And apparently they had some crazy cut where it was, I think, maybe only like 2 hours or something. I didn't end up being like 2.5 or something. So they fought back and forth on it. And still trimmed a bunch of stuff. But that's why the pacing feels like it never fucking slows down. It's like, new planet, new planet, new planet, crazy set piece, another set piece, run here, go there, fight, do this. Like, you don't get a fucking chance to like sit for a second and just like absorb what the fuck happened. There's so much nonsense in like one movie. It's insane. I really liked that last season. I thought the first 2 seasons were more about that. I thought the third season was more... Kind of. I'm just worried that like the third season's feeling a little too uncomfortably similar to like some of the other Star Wars shows for me. Like the thing I liked so much about Mandalorian initially was that it had its own vibe, its own kind of presence. And it initially was the cool like space western, you know, it's the one solitary Clint Eastwood type bounty hunter versus the world sort of thing. And it started to become less and less that. And then they clearly didn't realize Grogu was going to be that popular. Like the crazy popularity that it got. Because then that started shifting where Grogu was in there all over the place. And then it lost that interesting like identity of being like a space spaghetti western. Which I wish it could have kept. Because I feel like that was something real nice. That was a little like lightning in a bottle kind of thing. Like they could have maintained, but Disney gets greedy and they want to have a bunch of these characters because more characters means more toys, more marketing potential. And so they just, and also, let's be honest, I'm pretty sure, what's his face? Dave Filoni wants to put as many of his Clone Wars characters into stuff as possible. Like, well, he's been doing with Ahsoka and some of like even, what's her face? Starbuck, like the other Mandalorian leader and all this kind of stuff. That was like, if you didn't watch the Attack of the Clones cartoon, you'll be like, who the fuck are these people? Yeah, Sabine. Yeah, but no, yeah, Sabine and then Bo-Katan. And it starts getting very crowded. I really liked the more focused kind of approach where it was like, we're with him and we're experiencing the things that he's experiencing, being like a soul, like a loner bounty hunter in the universe. Like, that's cool. Now it's less cool because it's like he knows everybody and everybody comes to him, and then it's like very crowded, and it's very much like I don't want to compare it to the Boba Fett show because holy shit, did they fumble that? But it's getting uncomfortably close to feeling like that show, and that's the danger sign for me because that show is awful. They should be embarrassed. Like, let's be honest. Boba Fett's not a deep character, but they really changed the character to the point where it's like, that's not even the same guy anymore. What are you doing with this guy? He's being like non-lethal. It's like letting people like beat the shit out of him. It's like his approach is like, you can't have him be super pacifist and somehow be a bad. Like, you got to pick a lane, you know, at some point with that, and they just didn't want to. And then those stupid, annoying, like, space teens that were so obnoxious and dumb. I hated that whole thing. The one that was it Red Letter Media or somebody kept replaying the clip where that one guy, the one teen, thought he was being really cool by doing like a weird spin around flip when he was shooting the gun. That makes no sense. Because that just leaves you open for gunfire the entire time that you're doing that stupid spin around. There's no purpose to it. And yet he's doing it. And they treat it like, oh, that's so badass. No, it's not. Stupid. What are you doing? Stop it. Book of Boba Fett was fucking sad. Like, there's a series about a 6-year-old retiree who tries to make friends, but they keep getting murdered. It's true, though. And then he actually makes friends with, or like with a Rancor. And it's like, what? They wanted to forcibly change this character who for decades was just like shoot first and not care about anything that comes after. Like he was so one-dimensional, and that's what actually people liked about him. And they tried to flesh him out into this like feels kind of guy. It's like, I don't think that's what works about him. It's crowded, but it's kind of fun to watch him discover the Star Wars universe. Yeah, so when he's doing that, you're talking about the Mandalorian, right? Not Boba Fett. That part is fine. I think it becomes more of a problem when they start like keeping him grouped. Like it works better when he helps somebody, then he moves on. He doesn't put down roots somewhere, because it kind of feels like he shouldn't be that kind of character. He should always be like the wanderer, like. And they're trying to start establishing like he's not, and it's like, but then he's just gonna feel like any other character at that point. Oh shit, did we hit an ad break like twice? The gunspin was because the episode was directed by, was it? Ugh. You know what? You bring up a good point about the directing thing. That was kind of some of the problem for The Mandalorian for me, where some episodes were directed by a person that like had a very good sense of like let's make this episode as effective as possible. And then suddenly the next episode would be directed by somebody completely different. And you could tell the vibe was like, what? Because I think Rodriguez also directed, I think, the episode where Mando and Boba Fett meet for the first time. That one also felt a little like sometimes some of the episodes feel fun and gritty and like tough. And then other times it feels like, this feels like it could have been like an animated episode or something. Like it loses that same kind of focus that some of the other ones had. And so there's a consistency problem as we get further along with those episodes, I feel, with the Mandalorian series. And then there's other times where it's like, clearly Dave Filoni was like, I'm enforcing that we have to have these specific Mandalorian characters because I'm starting to plan some big Mandalorian bullshit on the planet Mando and all that stuff. It's like, okay, fine. But that is changing this character, because normally he wouldn't have done any of this stuff. You're kind of I don't know. Again, I don't want to talk in circles, but like the things that made it nice and unique are slowly getting like the edges are getting rounded off. And once you do that too much, it loses that uniqueness that made people want to watch it. And it'll become one of those shows where people are like, hey, did you catch the episode of Mandalorian the other night? And like, nah, I haven't watched it yet. Like people won't care. As opposed to before when people were like, oh, is the next episode up yet? It'd just be like one of those shows that's like out. Anyway, so that's Tron Ares for now. We'll see when they inevitably have like another trailer down the line that will probably be like a story trailer, because that's like what they always do for like the Marvel movies. Like the Marvel movies will have like the teaser where it's all visuals, and then at some point closer to the release they'll start having one that actually has more dialogue and stuff, so you can start figuring out like, okay, what is the premise of like what's happening here. Like if there is a Dillinger, then they will make themselves known probably in the next trailer. If there is an equivalent of a Flynn or like a Resistance type person, they will make themselves known in the next trailer. I mean, that's what makes sense, at least. Who knows? Maybe they won't make sense about it.